Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade and this is How to App on iOS. And today we have the father of positivity, all the way from Canada, Joshua Beebe. We're going to kick off by playing one of his songs. This is Finally I Feel Again. Let's Oj.
Sometimes I lay awake, arms across my head, staring to the opaque darkness. I'm wondering, all the anxious thoughts brought by tomorrow. What if I'm not who I am? What if all everyone brings this heartbreak? I can't do it again. I can't do it again. I can't do it again. I won't do it alone this time. I've acquired a few friends. I wish not to be stuck on the past. I'm tying all my loose ends. My shit, I got a therapist. I got a therapist. Let's talk more listening. Let's talk more listening. Breathe the air and I feel the wind. My face is cold but I can finally feel again. Tell the psychiatrist I can feel. The meds are kicking in, the medication is kicking in. Sometimes I lay awake, arms across my head, staring to the opaque darkness. I'm wondering, a place only we know. We'd smoke some shit. Why must you be punished? 'Cause I was a stupid kid. I always managed to fall in love with my friends. You know how that ends. Another heartbreak and I do it all again. But this time I can't do it again. 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 I can't do it again.
Hello and welcome to the show. You know what the deal is. My name's Jade. This is How to App on iOS. What a fucking awesome song, huh? What a voice. Damn. That was Finally I Feel Again with our wonderful guest we have on today, who I had no idea I would have on until a few weeks ago when he appeared with one of our dear friends, Brad Example. Welcome to everybody who's in the chat. I hope you're all doing good. It's been a really interesting day. Thomas, Leela, can I get a Kim? Can I get a holla holla? You know what I'm talking about. Guilty. Anyway, enough of that. Guilty. Anyway, enough of that stuff. So, yeah, let's talk about our wonderful guest today. So, Many of you know who Brad Example is. He's been on this show many times. He's a big friend of the channel. We love Brad so much, and he's been doing these live performances every 2 weeks where he's normally performing by himself or he has a guest on. And he has a guest on who comes and plays with him. And then all of a sudden, Brad was like, we've got this guest coming on, Jade, because I do all the sound for Brad's show and I do the thumbnails and stuff like that. And Brad was like, I've got this guest coming on. He's a friend of mine. He's a really awesome musician. His name's Joshua. And we didn't know what to expect. And then he came on the show and it was like, Brad Example who? This dude is good, as you can tell by that song. What a beautiful voice and songwriting skills up the wazoo. He's probably going completely red with me talking so much, blowing so much smoke up his backside right now. But that's how we roll here. So settle in for the next hour and a bit, 2 hours, whatever it is, however it works out here on the show. You guys know how it goes. And we're going to have a chat, play some of his music and find out more about this wonderful artist. I'm going to bring him on now. And in about 20 minutes' time, we'll say hello to you all in the chat. So thank you for being here today. Hit the share, do that stuff if you can, like all that stuff, you know the deal. All right, without further ado, let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Canada, the wonderful, the incredibly talented Joshua Beebe. Let's bring him on right now if I can get all the right buttons happening. Yes. Hey, my friend, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
So, Brad Example, how the hell did you come into contact with that furry little weirdo?
So I met Brad. It was through my stepmom, actually. They were living in a part of Canada, kind of in the Mid-East, I guess, in Sault Ste. Marie. And Brad was part of a pretty popular band. And yeah, so I think she was the one that connected us. And then we just kind of been staying in touch. Yeah, I even went to visit Brad and a small town in Ontario. Yeah,
he lives in that tiny little town there with all the freaks and geeks. Have you written music with Brad before?
We haven't written any music yet. I mean, we've talked about it, and hopefully the next time I head that direction, we are definitely due for a session.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the internet these days. I mean, a lot of people in these communities here on YouTube pretty much record stuff and send it back and forward via the internet and put together these songs. I mean, we have that technology now. Is that something you're able to do from where your end is?
Yeah, I definitely could. I sometimes, I don't know, like there's like an art to recording, and there's an art to writing. And sometimes I feel like balancing them both is an act that is not the easiest for me.
You're not going to get an argument from me in that regard because, I mean, I sit here every day on this channel doing my best to create tutorials and try to inspire people to make music, and then I log out each day and go, man, I'm so unsatisfied. I'm not making enough music myself. Is there a secret sauce to find time in the day to actually make music? Like, how do you try and set aside time to make music, or is it like when there's a moment that it allows you to do it, you take it by the balls and run with it?
Like I truthfully wish I had more structure in that sense. Where like, you know, sometimes I feel like the songs just write themselves, but a lot of the times it's like I need to take a step back in a moment for myself and kind of write what I'm feeling or experiencing or seeing.
It's an interesting topic. I see it a lot on YouTube where people say, you know, how do you write your songs? What do you do first? When is the best time to write a song? And no matter how many times I see these questions asked, people always say the same thing. It's different. It depends. But it's forever a question that pops up like, oh, do you write the lyrics first or do you write the guitar or do you write the drums first? And no matter how many times we say the same answer, it depends. People are still trying to find this elusive magic answer that's going to help you write a killer song. And it's just not that way, is it? It's like you said before, sometimes it happens and you just go, whoa. And other times it's like, sucking water out of a stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. In asking that question, is there a particular song that you've written that, when you've looked back at it now, you go, how did that flow so easy? Is there a particular song that comes to mind for you that it just popped out and it was like a runaway train?
Like not from my own opinion, like of how I critique my songwriting, but like Dinosaurs is probably one of my more popular songs. Like generally, like when I get hired to go play somewhere, they're like, "Hey, like, can you play Dinosaurs?" Or I show up to a party, they'll say, "Can you play Dinosaurs?" And like it's a nice song. I wouldn't say it's one of my best, but I mean, like, it's what the people want, so that's what I play.
That's another thing too that is very common. You write music, you put it out there, you think, wow, this is going to be the one I think that people like. And it's not, is it? It's always the one you go, really? That
Yeah,
one?
yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I've talked about this on this channel many times before. Like in one of my old bands, we had a demo and we added this song on last minute called Septic Midas. It was an absolute written in the studio, 4 chords. It's a joke. It was a crappy punk song. And it became that song where every gig people were like, oh, Septic Midas. And I'm sure it happens the same thing. I'm sure Hotel California was not written as like, oh, this is going to be played forever and ever, and now they hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's get into the meat of the questions here. Question I ask everybody who comes on the show, Joshua. See if you can sum up. What does music mean to you?
Well, I would say it's like food for the soul, like you need food, you need water, and essentially that's to keep your body and mind going. But I mean, for me to keep my soul going, I need art in general. I think I think human race in general needs art. I mean, you look at old buildings with stained glass and choirs and hymns. I'm not a religious person, but art the language of the soul for so long.
Has there been a time where music has dug you out of a hole that you've been in that you can recall
Uh,
and share or not?
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like every day it digs me out of a hole. I mean, just like on a day to day, whether I'm like gardening or doing work around the house or trying to work out, music is kind of always there. But I guess ideally, like, I mean, if I get a little bit deeper, um, when I first started to write music, essentially, like I was probably 12, and like for me, it was like my mom had a boyfriend who wasn't that good to her. They'd always be fighting. So for me, like I started writing songs as soon as I could, just because I needed to express myself. And yeah, like even like anytime there's trauma in my life, music is my go-to. Or when I see trauma in other people's lives, I just want to tell that story, and kind of like it's my own little journal, I guess.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I, it's weird. Like, has there been like I'm no nagging on music here, but it's interesting as we go on in our lives how our songwriting changes. But has there always been I've listened to a fair bit of your music over the last week, and there seems to be a lot of like you said, there's stuff about trauma, but there seems to be a lot of positivity in your music that you write. Was it always positive? Has it always had that kind of slant on it, trying to find the good in stuff, or was there a switch?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because yeah, like I mean, for me, I think my music has always been kind of positive. If you really, but I mean, like a lot of the times it can seem like it's from a dark place, but for sure, like becoming a father, 7 years ago, changed my writing style, but like it shifted it into a different direction of like, self-reflection, which kind of was there already, but just not really feeling like enough, but understanding that that's like human nature.
Yeah, fully. Let's go. I love this question. This is always because most interviews ask people who are the artists that influence you, and I don't like that question. I think it's boring. So I like to ask: do you recall the music that was played in your household by your loved ones growing up, and who were some of those artists that were played as a kid that you were forced to listen to?
That's a way better question. Um, yeah, I guess like the way I grew up, like my mom was a single mom.
Right.
So sometimes she'd like go out on the weekends with my grandma, and they were always listening to Shania Twain.
Wow.
Um, my mom used to tell my mom used to tell me Brian Adams was my real dad, jokingly,
What?
of course. But like I'm not a huge Brian Adams fan either. Like I'm sure he's got some good songs, but I think that's the type of stuff. But I guess like in the neighborhood I grew up in, like they called it like No Daddy's Lane because everybody was out. And like Tupac was really big in our neighborhood, and Johnny Cash. So when I speak of my influences, like I'm like Tupac and Johnny Cash are like Jesus Christ to me.
Your musical, what you create too, is kind of in a way that reflects because you're a folk artist, but you do move into the world of rap and producing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
so I guess that's the next question where I go from there. Has Tupac and Johnny Cash influenced your style?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like they're both fantastic entertainers, great storytellers. Yeah, and I think that I really try to mimic like, both styles into one sometimes, especially with the songwriting.
Have you even considered doing a one of those genealogy websites just to make sure that Brian Adams isn't your dad? I mean, that would
Not
be
till right now.
that would be a turn for the books at this time in your life. Imagine that phone call. Hello, is this Brian Adams? I think I'm your son.
That's hilarious.
Oh, dear.
I gotta try it, I guess.
Does he? Is he the one who sings everything I do it for you? Is that what he sings? I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
That
Yeah.
I could just hear him singing it to you over the phone. now that you found out he's, oh my God, we always go down stupid paths in this silly show. That's what it's all about. Uh, so, man, do you think Tupac's still alive?
I think he is not. No.
I don't know.
We can, we can talk for hours about that one.
There's been some credible people say they've seen him in a 7-Eleven. If it's on YouTube, man, it's got to be for real. That's where I get all my news from. Do you recall as a kid the first album that you were given as a gift, or a cassette, whatever it was, and the first album you went out and purchased with your own money?
So the first album I wasn't given, I took it. And my mom for a while had like a string of different boyfriends coming through the house, and one of them had like this crazy cassette collection, and like the artwork from Shout at the Devil, Motley Crue, just like really spoke that to that age that I was, and I was like, this is great. Shout at the Devil, wow. Like, so cool. So that would have been the first one I'd taken. And the first CD I bought, my mom was in rehab. My grandma was watching us, and I begged her to let me use my birthday money to buy Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent.
Oh wow. What a dude, I love your diversity. Just I love diversity in artists. I mean, you have to have it. It's so
Yeah.
it always troubles me when I see people who I don't know, they're so talented and they just stick to this one genre and their whole collection is exactly the stuff that they're doing, and you just think, don't you want to grow? Aren't you like even excited by finding different styles, even if like it's outside of your comfort zone? So has this always been a thing do you go out and seek different kind of styles to broaden your horizon, or is it just whatever comes, you just like?
Well, like I think I always try to see like the good in anything. Sometimes it's hard,
Yeah.
but generally, like I guess in terms of music, like a lot of the times what I do, or not a lot of the times, like when I have extra money, like I'll go to the record store and I'll just buy whatever records are on clearance. And then like yeah, like I know there's going to be something good on this album. I might not like it all, or I might like some of it, but yeah. So it doesn't matter to me what genre it is. Like I'll give anything a chance.
Are you still a physical media type of guy? Are you still going into record shops and doing that stuff, or have you moved everything over to digital now?
Yeah, like I mean, I hate to say like I'm like an original hipster, you know, but yeah, no, I still go get records. I like physical copies of things. Yeah, like I'm not super big on social media. I I don't navigate very well on social media, and I feel like yeah, it's constantly changing. And it's like by the time I feel like I'm good on Facebook, then there's a new app, and I just feel like sometimes my time is better invested elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are constantly, people are buying for our eyeballs constantly, and not in a good way always. That fear that people want us to have with each other, and they want us fighting, they want us angry, and they want us to all have a voice, and it's like it gets tiring. It really does. Social media is just hard work. It's like being in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, um,
Yeah.
so I was going to ask. I was going to go back, and now my brain's stopped working. What was I going to go back to? I was going to go back to. Let me get my brain in order. God, I had a question to go back on. Why am I not thinking? Oh, it wasn't a question, it's more of a statement. So I think with my question that I normally ask these questions to everybody who comes on, you know, about the first album, what was given to you. I think I'm going to include which album did you steal for the first time as well, because I've had a few people now say that they stole an album. What about a live performance? Do you remember the first gig, even if it was like a local thing or like a big band? Was there a first thing that you went to that stands out, even if it wasn't the first, but something that stands out that really like got you excited about music?
Um, yeah, actually, like so. I mean, I guess growing up, spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandma was big into the theater. Um, so I remember going to a lot of live performances, but not one that stuck out in particular. But like I guess first concert maybe would be like a Led Zeppelin tribute band. I remember she was so happy to take me,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, that would probably been the first one.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Did they cover the songs good?
You know what? I think that I didn't quite appreciate it as much as I should have.
Awesome. Let's play another song, and then we'll come back and say hello to everybody here in the chat. This is from your album that is available on all streaming services, and the links. Remember, everybody, links are down in the description. So what we're doing today is we've got some videos of live performance by Joshua, and we've got some songs from the album which are static stuff. So this is Museum of Memories. We'll play this. We'll come back and ask you how this thing came about. We'll talk about your album and stuff. All right, let's give this a spin. Let me just make sure everything's good. This is Museum of Memories by Joshua Beebe. Let's do it now. Boom.
We had a moment, I know you know it, going down, down, down. The coffee gets cold, it's summer night snowing. The clock spins around. It's a long way to that memory. It's a long way to the Museum of Memories. Come I survive, come see, come ça. Cold weather comes and emptiness starts growing. I'm back on my bullshit, playing Russian roulette with the ghost of a poet. And I'm smoking on his SpaceX, and it's getting potent. And I'm smoking on his SpaceX. Am I still your poison? Am I still your poison? Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's a long way to the Museum of Memories. If our love was like pastels, our colors could blend. But until that day, it's roll up the rim, please play again. Oh, we're better off as friends. We're better off as friends. We're better off as friends. And you could have my all, but I don't know how much time is left. And you could have my all, but I don't know how much time is left. Sending you some drunk love stupid text, telling you well, I'm so sorry again. It's a long way to that memory. It's a long way to the Museum of Memories. If our love is like pastels, our colors could blend. But until that day, it's better off as friends. Smoking on his SpaceX, and it's getting potent. And I'm smoking on his SpaceX. Am I still your poison? Am I still your poison? Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And you could have my all, but I don't know how much time is left.
Wow. Man, your voice is so captivating. Just speechless, you know. I remember the first time I saw you on Bradshaw's and you opened your mouth and started singing. I was like, whoa, where did this come from? You're so unassuming as well, and it's such a big character that comes out. It's just incredible. Like, it takes you on a, goosebumps. That's what really wanted me to have you on the show, because I love seeing somebody who's just absolutely unassuming. You were sitting there so quiet, Brad has you on, and then you start singing and everyone was just so How was that album recorded? So did you and you know, let me just say, I love artists that have the balls to release an album that is just an acoustic guitar and a voice. Not enough people do that these days. They're so reliant on like, oh, we've got to have like some MIDI drums and all this stuff. No, man. If you can't pull people in with a guitar and voice, then you're done. What was
Yeah.
involved in putting together this album?
Like this album, I guess to me it was it was kind of like closing a chapter of my life. So like for me, like I'd spent a lot of time just kind of like I was kind of on my own at 16, and then just figuring life out the hard way. And a lot of things well, like I guess experiences came up of this, and so I was working on like a whole art project, and the whole concept that all the love that I'm building is built from this haunted place where maybe love shouldn't exist, and I felt like I'm not deserving of it, and just coming to peace with that. But I was also working like it was supposed to be a three-way project, like with physical art, also like a short story, and then the album. But I have bad ADHD, and I can't ever finish anything that I start, it seems. And I just needed to finish this album so I could move on with my life. And I had a friend who had like a really nice studio. His name's Leroy Stagger. He really well accomplished musician, singer, songwriter. He's worked with a lot of big names. So like he helped me out and got me into his studio. Like I have a home studio as well, but like I said, like I don't like recording my own stuff for like to put out, I guess. So yeah, Leroy helped me put the album together, and yeah, I could finally just move on and start something new.
I totally hear you with sitting there and recording your own stuff. I mean, it's interesting that topic, because it's so easy to do it now because there's so much gear that's readily available at such low prices, microphones and interfaces and computers, and even when you get all that stuff, sometimes like having all that stuff and doing it yourself, you are unable to capture the performance you want because your mind is having to focus on hitting the button, getting ready, and all that kind of stuff. So, did you find that with is this the main reason? Oh, you just answered that pretty much. But going to somebody else, do you struggle with red light fever yourself, doing it yourself and hitting the buttons and doing all that? And sometimes the energy zapping because of it.
Yeah, like I don't know, like for me, like I've recorded other artists as well as myself, and like I really like to capture like raw quality,
Yep.
and for me, like I post a lot of like like for me, I enjoy listening to those. But there's this whole idea that if I go to a recording studio, like it's like networking, which is important. But then at the same time, because I put money into it, like I'm like, okay, I have to release this now. Where even if the project isn't exactly how it sounds in my head, like I've already invested in it, so I'm going to release it. Versus like when I'm recording myself, it's like, okay, this sounds okay, but I know I could do it better. And then like you're just always your biggest critic, and it's
Yeah.
just like it never gets complete.
Yeah. Oh, you're preaching to the converted on that one. I have an album I've been working on for like 13 years. It still isn't out yet. And it gets to that point where you go, do I even want to release this now? Like, is it going to matter if it goes out to people? Has it done for me what I wanted it to do for me? Has it healed me? It's a interesting concept. Let's say hello to everybody here in the chat. Thank you for joining us here today. Those of you who are interested in coming and checking out a new artist you've never seen before around the community. Thomas Christ is in the house. Please just type something in the chat so I can find you and give you a shout out. So don't have to scroll too far. Thanks, Thomas, for doing the mod stuff as always. We've got Jorge here as well. We've got Legs 11. We've got Granny in the chat. We've got Barry Glenn. We've got Wild Bill. Russ is here. I know Brad's watching. He just sent me a message. Viv Sparrow's in the house. Hello, hello, Viv. Hope you're doing good. Who else do I see if I scroll up? Camp G May rocking it out. Joe Glenn, Kim Harden Hudson. I saw Leela here as well. I can only scroll up so far before I run out of space here on this stupid chat thing. Trimmer Bear, what's going on? Pete Johns, I saw as well. There's Pete. G'day, buddy people. Remember, Pete Johns is up next. After this, he's got his wonderful wife on the show, Georgie, and they're going to have a chat with us, have some drinks before they go into Dry July. Or is it Dry June? I don't know how it goes. Mr. Smith is in the house. Hello, Mr. Smith. There's Brad. Says, hey, Josh and Jade, thank you for reminding me. I'm here. I'm just watching from the start. Hello to everyone. This is awesome. Can you believe this, Josh? I had to message Brad and go, are you here, Brad? Bloody Brad. He's hopeless. I'm sorry, Brad, you are such a hopeless bitch, Brad. When he had you on the show, right, I was so stressed about it. Whenever he has somebody on the show, I'm so stressed because I'm sitting there in the background doing sound. And I'm like, dude, I hope the sound works out. Like, have you done a sound check? No, he hasn't done a sound check. But, we fixed it up. It was coming out of, I think there was a show. It was coming out of one side and then we fixed it up or whatever it was. Yeah. But, because Brad says to me before he goes live, Josh, he says, message me if there's any problems. So I'm sitting there messaging him and then Brad doesn't read the messages. I'm like screaming, going, Brad, read the messages. I'm your goddamn engineer. Pay attention to me, you bitch. So there's that. Now, you live in the amazing country of Canada, which I've never been to, but would love to. But from what I hear, it's very similar to here in Australia. I mean, you have socialised healthcare and stuff like that, which some countries don't have. But when you went to school, did your early school days, was there a music program? Were you playing music at school from an early age? Did they force you to learn the recorder when you were young or anything like that? Tell us about your journey at school. Did you play in a school band, anything like that?
So I grew up in Canada, beautiful country. I'm from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Even though it was a pretty rough neighborhood. So the school didn't have a whole lot of funding.
Right.
Music was I guess we were forced to do the recorder. I think that's an international thing.
It's a universal thing. I reckon there's aliens watching from outside of Earth going, what is it about the recorder? Why do they all Sorry, I broke into your conversation.
Oh, that's okay. And then let's see here. What else was there? I guess the neighborhood I grew up in, most of the people there are Indigenous. I don't look it, but I have my First Nation status, which essentially to somebody not from Canada just means that you're Indigenous. And so we built drums, native drums for traditional playing. And I guess essentially that would have been the music that I would have been most exposed to. It's just drumming and singing songs to our creator.
I love that. So are these healing drums or such like that, anything like that? Because I've got one of them myself. See if I can find, I don't have a full picture of the back, but I was lucky enough to go to quite a few years ago. My partner paid for a weekend away. It was like a 4-day weekend. It was American Indian thing where we went away and we had to skin a deer and then cure the hide, and then we had to make. So here's a picture of the drum. Here you go. So there it is there. And everything that was made on it, the stick and everything, and all the back, I wish I could, I don't have it here to even pull it out. All the back is all intertwined, it's actually, it's the flesh, and it's cut around in a circle, and then you end up with a long strip, and that's what you tie around. And I swear to God, by the end of it, my fingers were bleeding, and it was so painful to make, but there was so much energy that went into it. And so that's the kind of drums that...
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. And yeah, I guess like the songs would be mainly praise for the creator or healing, like especially in my older days, like uh we go to like a sweat lodge ceremony. I'm sure you guys would have something similar in Australia with your indigenous, but yeah, it's powerful stuff. I mean, yeah, very powerful.
Absolutely, yeah. Our indigenous people here. I mean, it's the same everywhere, isn't it? You know, white people came conquered with alcohol and religion, and forced them all to one part of the country, and they're still trying to. I mean, we're still in this country having debates on whether these people should have rights. It's just, I give up. I feel like you're smashing your head against a wall with just stuff like this. What are your thoughts on the way the world is still handling these kind of topics?
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. I mean, like especially the divide between people. I think that at least in Canada, and I'm sure it's similar there, like just basic human rights, like such as clean drinking water, indigenous people don't have like in I guess even where Brad's from, like if you go into a little bit further north of Atikokan and in parts of northern Ontario, like there's no clean drinking water of whether somebody deserves clean drinking water. It's scary to think like that's a topic that we're having when we should have flying cars for everybody. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty dangerous place where we're trying to get to Mars, and yet there are still people who don't have clean drinking water. Is it just me, Josh, or we grew up under the assumption that Mars was an inhospitable planet that nobody could survive on? It, did that happen when we were growing up?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so.
So,
Yeah,
so why the fuck are we going there now? Can anyone answer that?
yeah. That's
It's just-
let me call Elon Musk.
well, that's probably the answer there. That guy's a sociopath. So, I mean, he did. I'm not going to like rag on him too much, but he did go to another country to try and help somebody get out of a cave, and then he called somebody anyway. Bizarre. Are humans' priorities in the wrong places, Josh?
Some of them, some of them.
I think so. Did you? Do you recall your first band that you joined and the name? I love hearing this because I always find people's first band names very fascinating. Did you have a first band? What was it called? When was it? How did you fall into it?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it would have been in high school. We wanted an acronym, so we called ourselves the Hopeful Calling. And we had cool logo. And yeah, it was fun. I don't think we ever actually released any music, but we used to jam all the time, and it was a good time.
It's a very positive, hopeful name, really. The hopeful calling. You're hoping somebody's going to give you a call and give you a kick. I like it.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot worse.
And it,
My first band name was At Random, and that was
that
probably
sounds
the.
okay.
I don't know. I'm pretty embarrassed about it. I didn't choose it. I wanted something else completely different. But yeah. It's kind of like I always find it interesting hearing people's first band names because I think it tells a lot about where you were at that time. And yeah, let's play another song and we'll come back and keep talking. I'm gonna move over now to what are we? We're up to we've got 10 minutes here. So I'm just going to grab this next track. This is called, let's do the warmth of a summer, beauty of the snow. Tell us a little bit about this song that I'm going to play, a live performance of yours.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite songs that I've written. Um, yeah, like I'm in like a leadership role for work, and I was talking with one of my coworkers, and they're not from Canada. And when they first came to Canada, they lived on the East Coast, which is like a beautiful part of the country. You know, you got the ocean. And they have a child, and I was like, hey, like, how did your daughter like the transition from, moving from the ocean to the middle of nowhere? And she's like, well, my daughter wasn't with me when I came. I came here by myself to work, to provide a better life for my daughter. And for me, like, I mean, I didn't have to take big fight, but family. So it kind of touched me in a way that, like it can only touch somebody like me. And her experience is a lot different than mine, but yeah, that the inspiration came from that.
Awesome. Let's play it now. All right, folks, kick back, enjoy another one of Joshua's fantastic songs. This is called Warmth of a Summer, Beauty of the Snow. We'll see you back here shortly. Let's ooja.
Oh, it don't matter if you don't remember when I held you as a baby in my arms. Oh, it don't matter, 'cause I remember you'll always be my baby. You'll always have my heart. I'm saving all my money now. I'm dreaming of that day. Oh, I'll be coming back home. I'm gonna put my baby on that plane. It broke my heart to go, my love, when mama's working late. I gotta go for a while, my love. I'll get you out of this place. Well, don't worry, child, my baby, these are happy tears. Oh, all that sacrifices pave the way, though I can't get back those years. Well, I think we should celebrate. I'll take you to the top. We're gonna climb all the mountains. We're gonna sing non-stop. I like the way you talk now, the way you sing and dance. I like the way you move with the wind, the way you laugh and clap. They call us first generation. That's a pain my baby won't know. Mama's gonna take all of that suffering for a baby to grow. You'll be a sweet, sweet child, my dear. All the places you'll go. Oh, all the warmth of summer, the beauty of the snow. I've worn so many faces, I've walked so many roads. I've seen the shadow in the valley of death, but now that I got you, I'm finally home. Hold you in my arms, my love, and you're finally home. Memories you might not remember are the same ones I'll never let go.
I agree, Thomas. Really talented artist. I mean, there's a line in there about being first generation that really hit home there. It's man. Let's talk a little bit more about Indigenous affairs and stuff like that. In Australia here, like this country was built off the back of immigration, which came from essentially invasion. So, you know, it's one of the topics. I remember as a kid growing up here in Australia, and we weren't taught about invasion. We were taught Captain Cook discovered Australia while on a boat. He probably saw it through his little telescope and then came here, and then it all just magically built, and it was a great story and all this stuff. And then as you get older and hit high school, you start to really hear the real story of the bloodshed and the almost like rounding up of sheep and killing, and those who complied were pushed to one part of Australia and forced to stay there and not accepted as pretty much human beings. And when I was growing up in high school, all my friends were, you know, first generation Greek kids and Italian and Macedonian and stuff like that. But I had a lot of Indigenous Aboriginal friends here in Australia. And the amount of just shit that they were put through high school, of like expectations that they weren't able to learn, that they weren't worth anything. And the teacher, you could see the bias in teaching to these kids, that like to not give them the same focus that other kids got because they were already written off. Was this a similar story for you growing up? Is it the same as Australia almost?
Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. Like, you mean like a lot of the Indigenous people were written off?
Yeah. Basically, like, yeah, they looked like as already failures. See, we had a thing here in Australia called the stolen generation. The government came in and took Indigenous children from their families and moved them over to white families, which is just ridiculous. And even though they were put in with white families and then put into school, you know, schools, it just seemed like, as a kid growing up, it looked like they were looked at as a lost cause.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like, it's like a carbon copy. I mean, like, that's exactly what it is like here too. I mean, like, even my last name Beebe, like, it's from my Indigenous side of the family, and that name comes exactly from that. Like, my great grandparents, you know, like, they're taken from their families, given to a white family, and then that's how we got the last name.
Right.
But yeah, like, especially in the school system, I mean, yeah, like, because we had more Indigenous people, you think that you know, there would be more funding, and perhaps there was, but it didn't seem like it, because I mean, yeah, like, we were all pretty troubled kids, so I mean, we were not the easiest to deal with, and you know, like, there could have been a better system, but unfortunately, it wasn't that way. Or it might have been, and I just didn't perceive it that way because I was in survival mode, you know, like.
Well, yeah. It is kidnapping.
Yeah.
Let's let's not fuck around. It's essentially kidnapping, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in the US. Like Pete John says here, the racism here in Australia, 80s and 90s was horrible. Sad to say, it seems to be heading back that way. Yeah, this is a world that it is. We are starting to see this ugly re-emergence, even though it hasn't really gone away. It feels like it's just been buried. That's the thing. Here in Australia, one of our governments tried to have a sorry day where we all said sorry and apologised. And so many Australians marched and said, yeah, you know, but then the government didn't act on it. So, like, I guess it's one thing to say sorry, but then if you don't act on anything, what's the point? It seems like bullshit. And going back to my experience with having a very, very close Indigenous Aboriginal friend when I was a kid, it almost was like the teachers, as I said, they'd given up on him and they just expected him to be a criminal. So they didn't give him the same treatment as the rest of us. And because I was his best friend, I did a lot of school projects with him. We worked together on things. And then I felt like I could feel it on me because I was now with this guy working with him. And inevitably, he went and robbed a bank and ended up in jail. And it's like you think,
Yeah.
did you motherfuckers create this?
Yeah.
It's yeah. What would you have you thought about what you would like to see our governments do about this to actually make some kind of headway so we can move forward? I mean, we're never going to be able to, make full amends for doing this kind of stuff. But do you see a roadmap forward for countries to sort through this?
Yeah, I mean, like I think the heart and soul of it would be like, more social projects. You like I need to do a lot more for the youth. Um, like there really is not a whole lot for the youth. Like even like I live in a pretty nice rural area now. But even like unless you have money, like there's really not a whole lot going on for the kids. And I mean that's where it starts. It's the foundation of everything. So I mean like yeah, if you're not there for them when they're young, like you're just creating an issue once they get older.
Yeah. We we like to. There's a lot of apparent goodwill out there in this world where people say they're doing things, but because of bias and prejudice and all this stuff, it really is hard to get past it. I think the one good thing, like it's not a good thing. I don't know. I'm against censorship. I want to know who the people are who are hateful and have them screaming really loud so we can find them and go.
Mhm.
I don't think censorship's the way to go. But then, what do you do with people who are continuing this kind of racist, this vile rhetoric? Um, yeah, it's a tough one, and it seems to be one we can't sort out, and I don't know why. We're going to Mars, but we can't sort this shit out at all. So anyway, that got a little bit deep, didn't it? So so you join your first band, and you start gigging. How are you? How do you remember your first gigs? How many were they to a lot of people? Did you get discouraged? Did you have good experiences from your first gigs? Let us know.
Oh man, like like well the band that I was in, like we never actually did any gigs.
Right.
We're just like we're starting a band, but like when I started playing, and I'll call it live, but I mean like the day I picked up a guitar is the day I started writing songs, and that's just it was not so pleasant. Like like definitely like it would be a horrific sound to listen to. However, like I think I always support. I like to think I support up and comers. Like if you have the courage to get up on stage, it shouldn't really matter how you sound. Like like you had the courage to get up on stage, and this is what you believe in, and you're standing for what you believe in. So I think that deserves a round of applause in itself. So I guess yeah, I remember vividly like posting music and being like crucified in a negative way for it. But now like even years later, like I kept with it, and I grew, and so did the people that were kind of bullying me, and like they're like, what, like hey, like we were kind of assholes, we're sorry for that. And I think it was big of them to kind of acknowledge that. But it's interesting because later they got into music too, and it's like maybe that's what kind of taught them like, oh crap, this is not as easy as it looks.
It is always the way. It's funny how no matter what country you live in, this kind of thing happens. I've talked about this on my channel many times. Being a metalhead at school and singing from an early age and playing metal and stuff, I used to get punched so much at school. Someone would just come up and just punch me. Who did they hardly even knew, and they just go fucking metalhead. And be like, the style of music I like makes you want to punch me. But then, like years later, you finish school and you're outside of school, you run into these people and they're wearing a fucking Slayer shirt. And it's like, like why do humans do this, Josh?
Yeah, I wish I had the answer for that one.
Are we just assholes?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we're beyond help. That's what it is. So, how did you get your first guitar? So, how long have you been playing guitar for?
So since I was about 12 years old,
Right, 12.
how I got my first guitar. I always like telling the story.
Awesome.
Um, so for me, like we never had a whole lot growing up. My mom was, battling with her own demons from a young age. She was a teenage parent. And yeah, like I had no way to express myself, so maybe I would act out, I would get in trouble at school. But my mom's best friend was a prostitute. So I used to babysit for her while she, worked. And from then, like she paid me pretty good. So I saved up money. I bought my first guitar. And then yeah, then I had my guitar. I was about 12 years old. And yeah, like when my mom and her boyfriends would fight, like I would just play guitar and just pretend, maybe not pretend I was somewhere else, but I guess I was actually going somewhere else. And that's how I got my first guitar.
Yes to sex workers.
Yes.
Having been one myself and seeing the backlash that you get for doing it is just like, oh man, it's the oldest profession in the world. You hear people say it all the time, right? But at the same time, people say it, but they still say it with like looking over their glasses, going on, It's it's like it's such a so weird how we hold on to these sayings and stuff. It's the oldest profession in the world. But I'm still going to judge you for it. It's still a terrible thing. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, if prostitution didn't exist, can you imagine how many more murders there would be on this planet?
Oh yeah. I never even thought about that, but yeah, I think it's work, and I think yeah, like it should be like any other job. Like it's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Absolutely. Look, from being somebody who's been involved in it, like when I went into it, I actually got into it at a really old age. At 42, I got into it. But I was in a really good place mentally, and I would see other girls in it who were really young and I don't know, not taking the money they were getting and using it wisely and actually getting in and getting out quick, right? But some of the, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to talk about some of the stuff here on the channel because it would make your brain melt. But some of the occasions and people that I've had and some of the things that happened that transpired was so horrific that I would have to go home and decompress my brain and go, what the fuck just happened? And you would try and like convince yourself that, oh my God, at least they came and saw me and they're not going out and doing that to somebody else. But then your brain thinks more and goes, but what if they are going out and doing that to somebody else?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it is just one of those things that no matter if you agree or not, sex is the thing that makes the world go round, probably more than money, So, and here in Australia, it's legal. I don't know is it legal in Canada?
Sex work's legal in
Yeah.
Australia?
Yeah.
In Canada, no, it's definitely not.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can get a
And-
permit here. You can get a permit. Yeah, in any state, you can get a permit.
Huh.
It's
That's good. That's the way it should be, in my opinion, at least. I mean, like, if you legalize it, I mean, you could eliminate sex trafficking, right? Like, I mean, that's the way I would look at it.
absolutely. Well, it also gives people the opportunity who are involved in it to press charges against somebody if things go wrong. So you've got a case to stand on, and having a license, so to speak. I mean, there are multiple licenses here you can have. You can have it where you just work in a venue, or you can just have it where you are the venue and wherever you go. So, but still, it's bizarre going and applying for one of those. Let me tell you that. Hello, I'm here to get a piece of paper to say I can fuck people. Thanks for that. It's very, very bizarre. Getting a busking permit was a lot easier. Let me tell you that. So you get your first guitar. Now, let's and guitar takes away like what's going on in your household. So you said that your mum had multiple partners. Did you have to like I'm asking this, and you can tell me to fuck off completely. Did you feel like you suffered any like mental abuse through all of this, or physical abuse? Did you come out of this, bad?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't say it came out of it bad because I mean, like, I'm a great believer in like, like these things happen for a reason.
Right.
Well, not in like a religious way or anything like that, but I mean, if you could get behind it, and get in front of it and just like understand like this is what can create me and help me become a better person. But yeah, no, definitely there's a lot of, all sorts of abuse going on in my household, and I think that it definitely added character to who I am. I think it made me a better person, and more than anything, like a lot of my writing is about not knowing how to be in a healthy relationship.
Right.
Because I never really saw that growing up. Even my grandparents were pretty dysfunctional, but like now I'm married. But before I was married, well, even still now, like now me and my wife have been together for 8 years, and I feel like I'm a very good husband. I'm very lucky to have the family I have, but it didn't just come from me, being uh, all holy and thinking that I'm just a good person. It took a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of suffering. Um, and I think if I didn't see what I had seen or done what I've done, like I wouldn't be who I am. So I think I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've had, whether they were, well, I don't want to call them good or bad, but if they were anything like that, they helped craft me.
Tremor Bears put a comment in here saying dysfunctional is normal.
Yeah.
It's an interesting statement because so many people these days say things like, "Oh, I wish it was like the good old days," and the good old days where women weren't allowed to vote, all these things that were, you shut the fuck up or you get belted, this kind of stuff. And these days, we hopefully as a society talk more about this stuff and, try not to repeat the problems that we've had in the past. Do you think as humans, Josh, we hold on to tradition far too long? What are your thoughts on the word tradition? I'm a bitch, aren't I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, you know what? Like, I guess that's a pretty subjective thing. Like, but for me, like, yeah, I guess I suppose that I don't. Damn, I'm indifferent because you tradition I think is can be a good thing, but a bad thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know, because if it's sacred, yeah, I don't know,
It's something I
because it can
think
go
about
both
a
ways
lot.
for me.
Yeah, I think about a lot too, and it is one of those things that you go, "Oh man, there's so many traditions that are out there that people want to, for some reason, go back to, and they just suck." But then there are traditions that have value and worth, and things that we should hold on to. But then at the same time, we've had traditions in our existence which are terrible, and we should be reminded of them so we don't go back
Yeah,
and don't repeat these things, because we as a species tend to rinse repeat a lot.
yeah. I think if I could answer that question again, I would say I'm selfish and keep the ones that I like and get rid of the ones I don't.
I'm with you on that. Tremor Bear says, Jade, ask Josh about his guitars. Are you a collector of guitars? Do you have many of them?
uh, yeah, like actually, uh, during COVID, I guess, like I started buying. Well, I've always collected antique guitars.
Wow.
And I consider them investments. And yeah, like so I buy them, I fix them up, and then like I resell them, and or yeah, like so I have a pretty extensive guitar collection, and yeah, like I do a lot of selling of guitars. Like I do okay with that.
So you buy them, fix them up, and then sell them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
so you are home luthier.
I'm definitely not a luthier. I wish I was. Like I'm too scared to do some stuff to some of them. Like the other day, I just sold a 1955 Martin acoustic. If you're a guitar person, like that's a not a cheap guitar. And like I would have been scared to do work on that one. And that one I wasn't planning on selling. But yeah, I have a pretty crazy guitar collection.
I'm trying to find one of these. Is this it? Is this it here? 1955.
Yeah, yeah, they're yeah, that would be it. Or oh, that's a D18. The one I had was a 018.
018. Oh, there it is there. It's that one.
Yeah, kind of. That's a double O, but
Right. Oh,
different body shape, but similar.
I can find it. How many would you say that you have right now?
I probably have about 50 in my little studio right now.
15 or 50?
50.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Do you think guitars are like drugs?
Well, if they are, I'm quite addicted.
Right. Yeah. I think the difference is you don't end up like stealing for them. You don't end up with track marks in your arms, and you can't do time for having a guitar collection. I see people. There's a lot of memes about guitars. Do you have a partner who's supportive of you buying lots of guitars?
Yeah, like I almost do it as a career. So
Right.
like she's really supportive because I mean like my day job is like I work five days on, 5 days off. And then in my 5 days off, um well, yeah, like generally like we'll travel, and while we're traveling I'll find rare guitars, and then I'll play them for a bit, get a song or two out of them, and then I get rid of them.
Wow, that's rad. Let's play a
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
Let's play a song. We'll come back and continue this conversation. I'm going to play Love Built on a Graveyard. Let's play it. We'll come back, then we'll talk about it. You ready, folks? Grab a drink, enjoy yourself, kick back. Here's another song by our guest today, Joshua Beebe. This is Love Built on a Graveyard. Let's oge.
Hard to love on my best of days. I want to be at the command of your hands, like rainy afternoons and finger paints. I'll go all the way now. I mean, I really think that I'm ready. And we've taken our sweet, sweet time, where you're blowing me kisses, slow and steady. And I was waging a war for you, babe. A war for you, babe. A war. And 1,000 men wanted you, but only one could stay. And sure, you wanted many of them, but in full you always paid. Anytime sacrifices, dues came your way. Anytime sacrifices, dues came your way. And said, let there be love, Mr. Heavy Hearts. Let's get stuck like dry bristles. Yes, our love is art. On a bed of flowers we laid, never torn apart, in a style of dancing. Love built on a graveyard. Love built on a graveyard. Oh, we got love built on a graveyard. Oh, we got love, baby, we got love. Oh, we got love. And it's haunting me. Is it haunting you? 'Cause we got love, baby. Yeah, we got love. Hard to love on my best of days. I wanna be at the command of your hands, like rainy afternoons with finger paints. I'll go all the way now. I mean, I really think that I'm ready. And you are blowing me kisses. We're taking our time, growing slow and steady. And I was waging a war for you, babe. A war for you, babe. A war. We got love built on a graveyard. We got love built on a graveyard. We got love, baby. We got love. Oh, we got love. Love built on a graveyard. We got love. We got love, baby. Hard to love on my best of days. I wanna be at the command of your hands, like rainy afternoons and finger paints.
Damn. Folks, we'll have Josh back here in a second. It is a halfway point. I've kind of missed the halfway point of the show where every day we run an ad from YouTube and bow down to our YouTube overlords. Let's run that. If you want to avoid the ad, you can become a YouTube premium subscriber or just skip the ad and come back and we can tell you what's happening here on the show over the next couple of days. The ad has been run. There we go. So what is going on? Let me show you what's going on just over the next couple of days. Tomorrow we have a special show happening here on the channel where I've been wanting to do this for ages. Talk about a microphone that I own that I just can't live without these days. It is, and I can't even find the thumbnail. What is going on here? Where are my thumbnails? Let me find it. Somewhere. Damn, there it is. So tomorrow we're taking a look at the Rode Pod mic, why I love the Rode Pod mic. That is happening here on the channel tomorrow, so come and join us for that. Then on the day after, we have a special opening hour where I'll be singing a bunch of movie soundtracks. So come along, there'll be a list of songs if you want to pick one of me to sing. Comedy, horror movies, whatever. There's a whole bunch of movies that I'm going to be choosing from on that show. And then let me tell you, this is happening on Sunday, US UK time. Finally, we're celebrating 4 years on this channel and 4,000 subscribers. It is actually happening. Oh my goodness. Boom. So there you go. That is what's happening on the show. Let's bring Josh back in and find out about that song that we just heard, which is a beautiful song. Tell us about that track, my friend.
That one, well, I believe every instrument has its own little life. And for that one, my wife was pregnant with my son, and I would go and play this ukulele all the time. And I had a dream that I wrote a happy song, which to me, I don't really do, or what is perceived as happy. So I convinced myself to go buy this, stupid expensive ukulele because I had a dream. I wrote a happy song, and then it ended up that was the life of that ukulele for that one. And I guess like the self-titled track from the album Love Built on a Graveyard. It's just like the idea of having love, not deserving of it, or building love on a broken foundation. For me, like I always feel like I've kind of been haunted in that, where maybe I've self-sabotaged relationships just because I think I don't deserve it unintentionally. Or if not that, then maybe I just have treated my partners not so great in the past because I didn't know how to treat somebody. Sorry, I'm laughing because I could hear my son playing basketball outside. I hear him screaming in the background. But yeah, so for me, this song actually, when I played it live with my band, like this one is a lot of fun. You know, like Love Built on a Graveyard, everybody chants that. Like it's I wish that we would have got to do some recording as a full band, but in the future.
How has having a family changed Joshua Beebe?
Yeah, I think it probably would have, not would have. I think it did save my life. Uh, you know, as an artist, I'm pretty crazy. I put myself into uh risky situations. I like to experience life. I do a lot of crazy things. That probably would have led to my death. And like as a father, I still do a lot of crazy things, but now I need to tone it down a bit. Like, yeah, like traveling is so important for me at gaining perspective. Like, so I guess over Christmas, we went to the Philippines for a month. And like, I like to show my kids different experiences. And being in a third world, like that's something that will open your eyes. And for me, it's just all about sharing experiences with them and doing everything I could do as a parent to give them tools to learn things on their own. Because I don't think that I could teach them much more than they can learn themselves. I mean, they'll learn much more than I will. I hope.
Yeah, now I'd heard rumors about this from my friend Brad, who's just written here. Look at this. He's all caught up now. Ask him about his travels and the hiking and camping that he does, because yeah, as you mentioned there, you like to put yourself in dangerous situations. What's the most dangerous situation you've put yourself in? God, here we go.
I mean, like, I guess, I suppose physically, like, like I've done like 3-day trips into the mountains. And like one time, search and rescue had to come. Like there was like a cougar following us. Uh, but search and rescue had to come because my friend's lung collapsed on the hike, and so that one was in the winter. So we were on skis actually. So that was like a cross country ski trip. But I guess like in terms of with my family, like that was before I was married. But I would try to do a hike once a week. I live kind of close to the Rocky Mountains, which I'm pretty blessed to be near. But my son and I, when he was about 2 years old, got trapped by a black bear on the side of a mountain.
Damn.
Yeah, and luckily I was with a pretty big group, but I was just like, I hope my son doesn't tell my wife about this, and he could hardly talk it too. But I told her what happened. The park rangers had to come and get us actually that time. Well, we kind of made it without them, but they came with their guns and stuff like that.
Man, I saw a video, speaking of black bears, I saw a video yesterday of a woman sitting at a picnic table holding her kid and covering his eyes, and a black bear was on the picnic table just eating the food, and she was just sitting there, and the person across from the table was just filming, going, and they were going, just stay, and they were just keeping quiet, and the thing just ate all the food off, sniffed the kid, and oh my God, I was sitting there watching this video going, fucking hell, man, I was on the edge of my seat. It was so terrifying. They're pretty common there where you are in Canada, aren't they? Like, I know Brad says he sees them walk past the house all the time. Like, these things they're psychopaths.
Yeah, I guess like where I live now, like they're a lot less likely compared to like where Brad lives, and that's kind of like where I used to live. Yeah, like you could just walk to the park and you'll be playing at the park as a kid, and the black bear will come and you'll go up on the jungle gym until the black bear leaves, and then you just go back to playing. They're pretty common for sure.
Look, I found the video. Look at, look at this. There we go. Look at this. So, oh my God, man. They're just sitting there letting it do its thing. Like, thankfully, it's not an adult. I don't think it's an adult.
But it's the like when you see a cub, that's when you want to be scared
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the adult is somewhere that like concerned for its baby.
Look at that. Like, man. Oh my God, I can't believe how calm she is. You know, and I was sitting here, I watched it a second time and I was like, hang on a minute. What's the guy doing filming this? He's moving around. Look at that. Oh my God. That is just absolutely fucking terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, the mum is just what an amazing mum. So and jumps off the table. Look at this because there's someone else sitting there. Look at this. Oh my God. And it's just like, all right. I don't know if you've heard Brad's story. When Brad was on the show, Brad told us an amazing story about a bear. How when he was young, his grandfather killed a bear and then gutted it, and for fun, put his brother inside the carcass of the bear, and they all stood around and laughed. It's a story that is so fucking strange. It's beyond any comprehension. So
Is for warmth or what was it for?
I just think it was for weirdness.
Huh.
I mean, it's Brad. So it's it's Brad. If you go back and watch the interview I did with, I think it's the first interview I did with him. He fully tells the whole story. Had us all in fits of laughter. It is just a wild, wild story. So you mentioned COVID before and buying guitars and stuff. Like I like asking this question because it's different for everybody else. COVID was such a huge life-changing thing for so many people in so many different ways. Like, you know, who knew that in 2020 we were going to have this event that so many people died, and yet so many people talk about it saying it changed my life for the better. Were you on the end of of the better, that this was a restart, a way to like take a breath? And how did you get through that time in 2020 as a musician?
Yeah, like actually pre-COVID, like things were going really good with my band. So yeah, I was playing with a band called Josh Beebe in the Forest Orchestra.
Yep.
And yeah, like so we were like sometimes a 12-piece band. I think we had really awesome shows. And then I went to South Korea and the Philippines in 2019 for my first time. And that's when COVID first happened. They were first talking about it. So, I went to the pharmacy, like, hey, do you guys have a vaccine or anything to protect me? They didn't have a vaccine at the time. So we went traveling anyhow. I mean, the trip had already been paid for. And I don't think anybody really knew how big it was going to be at that time. So I was there for about a month. And then when I was coming back to Canada, that's when everything was like, I think people realized how dangerous it was and how serious it was. Because then, like, everything was just like completely different. And then when I came back, of course, live music, which I mean, we were making, some income from, wasn't a thing anymore. So it was really unfortunate, especially for people like with mental health issues who kind of thrive on, going to open mic or, going to the pub to see their friends. So yeah, it impacted me personally in a very negative way. I haven't been able to get back into live performing like I was pre-COVID.
Yep.
So as an artist, it was horrific for me. I'd stopped writing for a while, stopped writing for a long while, and then I just couldn't get back into it. I mean, but for my family, it was probably a good thing. But once I got my mental health right again, because like now it's like I've adapted to live a different way. I spend a lot more time at home and a lot less time working. Um, and now it's just like I don't want to. Where I live is like 40, 50 minutes to the city where I play frequently, and it's like, well, if I go play a show, like it's gonna take 4 hours, 5 hours out of my time away from my family, and it's like, is it really worth it? Yeah. So yeah, it impacted. I would say it impacted me in a negative way.
Right.
as an artist. But as a family man, it probably was a more positive thing once I adapted.
Yep. Yep. In your opinion, has the music scene where you are from, has it rebounded? Are people going back out and seeing gigs again? Has it come back or not?
Um, like no, I don't think it is what it was before.
Right.
I mean, like, however, like I am really positive that like it did kind of put people in a place where like they didn't feel so pressured to go out. Like, and one thing I do like is the masks. You know what? Like, if I want to wear a mask when I go out now, it's like it's not so criticized. Like, I did a lot of volunteer work at an old folks home, and it's like, why weren't we wearing masks before when we were sick? Like, so I mean, like, I'm a pro mask person.
It was a strange phenomenon, wasn't it? Like I've had friends who had contagious illnesses and were in hospital, and we all went to go and see them. This is many, many years ago, 10, 15 years ago. We all went to see them and we all had to wear gowns and gloves and masks. And you didn't even think about it. It was like, yes, this person's contagious and nobody wants to get golden staph. So we're all going to go in with
Yeah,
our masks to go see them. And then all of a sudden this huge event happens, which is something that, has been inevitable and happened before. And then all of a sudden people just were like, no, all this history of putting something on your face is just out the window because freedom. And it was really bizarre to watch. And I don't know. For me, it was like, did we all start drinking stupid juice or something? And really inconsiderate too. Like I think that the one of the things it showed was we really do live in a world, unfortunately, where people just don't give a shit about other people.
yeah, yeah, that is true.
Quite a scary thing. Now you mentioned one of the other things. So not only you are a dangerous person, you've put your life at risk. Another thing you touched on before, talking about going to places like Southeast Asia and stuff. I'm absolutely all about that. I've travelled myself halfway around the world and love going to places where, I don't know, you see life from a different perspective. And I think it's a really healthy thing for kids as well, growing up, to see that kind of thing. Because, you can get really complacent living in the West, where we kind of have things on tap. And I remember the first time I went to Southeast Asia, I was just, oh, man, my eyes are just, the poverty in this that you see, and it's really, it changes you.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Do you remember the first time you went overseas and saw this firsthand? What kind of an effect it had on you?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, well, actually, I don't know about because like effect on me, like, I guess in terms of because I'm a pretty open-minded person already, like, and I challenge discomfort. I welcome discomfort because I understand it helps me grow and makes my boundaries either smaller or bigger. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like my first experience was like we were going to stay somewhere, and it was just like cinder blocks and a tin roof.
Right.
And I thought this is where I had to stay, and I thought, well, I guess like I don't want to be rude, so I'm going to stay here. And then thankfully, like we kept walking down the mountain or the hills. I don't know what the proper term would be for it. And then like that's not where we were staying. But yeah, I guess I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know about myself from that perspective, other than, like sometimes I just gotta shut my mouth and take what I get, I guess. But at the same time, like, like there's some things I wouldn't expose my kids to, but yeah, like it just seeing how different life was for some people. I guess it made my heart a little bit bigger, but I feel like I already have a pretty big heart. So I mean, I think I'm a pretty given person, and I was just more so I was grateful that these people let me into their life. And I think yeah, I guess to be loved by more people made me a better person.
Yeah, I hear that. I remember First time I went overseas, Southeast Asia, and people were like, oh, your money's worth so much. And I was going there with this preconceived notion that, oh, yeah, I'm going to be able to buy all this stuff and be able to haggle with people. And the first thing I bought, I tried to haggle, but I kept like calculating how much money I was giving to this person and trying to barter for, and how important that little amount I was trying to save would change their life. And it was really hard. And every time I've been back since, I can't haggle. I just can't do it. Even though I know as a foreigner, they put a little bit on top. But when you think about it, it's still nothing. Like, a packet of cigarettes there costs like $3 Australian. Everything's just, and yeah. And one of the friends I went with was really haggling over such a small amount, and I felt like they were really mean, and it's a very eye-opening experience, especially in India. I found that as well too. The amount of poverty and what you're haggling over is just to you nothing, but to them an entire fortnight, 2 weeks of food. It's brutality. Now you're a gardener, so you've gone from like extreme highs and doing all these things that hiking and all this stuff, but you love gardening. Is this true as well?
Oh, gardening. Like lately, it's just been my sanctuary.
Wow.
So we have like a small acreage, and I was against buying it, but my wife was like, I'll do all the yard work, and yeah, like it's a shared thing, of course. But now we're on our. Well, I guess we've owned this place for about 6 years, but like now we're getting like better at gardening, like where every year you'd learn something new. So yeah, like I just pick weeds all day. I'm getting really good at it.
I was going to say, what is your main thing you grow? But weeds, it seems like, is it?
No. I mean, like not like marijuana. I mean, like
no.
weeds.
I know what you mean. No, I didn't think about that. I was with you. No, I didn't go there. But so, is there a particular thing that you do like to grow apart from weeds?
To be honest, I like to approach it from the financial standpoint, and there's a few things that make my life better. Number one is we grow a lot of flowers.
Right.
Not that they financially improve my life because they're expensive, but they're so pleasant to be around. I feel like they invite the bees. Well, and I don't think that's a statistic, but like it's so wonderful. And then the other thing is like we eat a lot of fruits. So I mean, like we've grown a lot of stuff that we don't end up eating. But I know like at our house we'll eat a lot of watermelon, honeydew melon,
Wow.
strawberries. So I mean, like we grow this year. Like we got so many watermelon plants we started. Like I'm so excited.
That's so rad, man! I love honeydew melon. Oh my god, I got into honeydew melon from having a drug habit. Believe it or not, because I used. Yeah, well, somebody told me coming down off like drugs, it's best to eat honeydew melon because apparently, wives' tales, fruit and nectar and stuff like that breaks down the come down of taking hard drugs. I don't know how true that is, but it tasted fucking so good. And honeydew melon was one of those things I remember coming down off drugs, just devouring. What a wonderful thing to be growing.
The big melon industry, they put that out there.
Right,
you gotta watch out. Big melon.
Big melon.
They're in. They got their hands everywhere.
Yeah, they're taking over. Don't trust big melon, folks. They're out to convert the world. They're the big melon. I love it. Let's play another song. This is for now. How do I say this? For Ingela? Is that how I say this title?
Yeah. Actually, Ingela is my stepmom. She passed away from a drug overdose. And actually, yeah. So Ingela is how I know Brad.
Right.
So Ingela knew Brad and introduced us.
All right.
This one's for Ingela.
Yeah, this one's going to tear at the heartstrings, folks. Let's play this and we'll be back to wrap up this interview and let you all get on with your day. This is Joshua Beebe and for Ingela. Let's oge.
I wish I didn't know all the suffering it will take just to grow. I've grown, oh how I've grown. All the things I've learned I wish I didn't know. Oh, you I love, you love to show. You got a picture of your babies on your telephone. I wanna know everything that makes life beautiful. You wanna help the world before you save yourself. Scared to look in the mirror, really see myself. I'll do my dreaming in the dark. Well, I sing to the candles and I'll dance with the flame. In your darkest hour I'll cry out your name. I don't know what to do with all this pain in my heart. I don't know what to do with all this pain in my heart. Well, it makes me want to scream and I want to shout, but the weight of the world has its hands around my mouth. Everyone you love's wearing a straitjacket, could never reach out for help. Believe I'm sorry about your sister, how she had to go. Heard your house burned down, she never really had a home. You just had each other in whichever way you go. When your daughter drowned, you drowned too. You tried to keep on living, but this life ain't for you. I'm a lot like you, I got that pain in my heart. Well, Ezra's fine, Timothy too. I can't understand, but I can try to. Daddy ain't alright, but he pretends to. Should I write my lease, write for Damien? Ain't no love like your firstborn son. All the things a parent couldn't do. But who hurts worse, the mother or child who's left to? Well, I don't know why, I don't know how. A room full of people, I feel by myself. With all this pain in my heart. I don't know what to do with all this pain in my heart. Days I wish I didn't know. All the suffering it takes to grow. Oh, I've grown. Oh, how I've grown. All these things I wish I'd never known.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. There's a reason why you won a 2019 songwriting competition at County Fair. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, actually, that one was an interesting one. Yeah, like there's a pretty good folk community in southern Alberta here, and yeah, like I spent a lot of time performing pre-COVID, and you know, I think a lot of the times like I'm never too sure if my writing. Hey, Jovian, sorry, buddy. I'm just doing an interview. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, Dad's a superstar.
Yeah. Sorry, just let me be a rock star. No, get out of here. No, just kidding. Um, but yeah, so for this one, like I was never too sure about my songwriting. Like I felt like I was doing okay. But then I entered this competition, which I really hated to do. But yeah, there was some big names that were the judges, people that I admired. My grandpa that I was really close with had just passed, and so I wrote a song for him called Clayton Stanley. And yeah, I performed, and it was like it opened the door to a lot of positive things because then I had the credentials. Like a lot of people that had heard me were already like, "You're gonna do good. Don't worry about it." And then they were like, third place to so and so, second place to so and so. I was like, damn it, why did I even try? And then it was like first place, Josh Beebe, and yeah, then I got to play at a folk festival, and then getting gigs after that was really easy because people were like, oh, okay, you got this silly piece of paper or this award attached to your name now, and unfortunately that's what the music business really kind of wants is credentials, and which is I don't quite agree with, but it's something I had to do, and it definitely helped me a lot.
I think it's the same for everything too. I mean, even having a YouTube channel, like I've been doing this for 4 years, and it's a really hard slog to try and get people on and interview them, and sometimes you get bigger names on the show. And I admit it, like I've had Billy Gould from Faith No More on here and interviewed him, and Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater. And they
Yeah,
were huge achievements, but then I've used those to leverage other interviews, and you say, hey, look, I've had this interview. And so these achievements that we get, the people scoff at them sometimes, go, like I used to be the same with Battle of the Bands, go, it's just a battle of the bands. But sometimes they can lead you to bigger and better things. Like that
yeah,
moment means shit, but it's the future that it can build on top of that.
yeah.
So what's next? What do you have plans for doing any recording in the future? Are you going to get back into the music industry? What is next do you have a roadmap for what you want to do musically ahead?
Yeah, I think like for now, like my goal is like I have an album that I recorded with a really well accomplished producer. Uh, Rob the Viking is his name. He was a member of Swollen Members. It's like a Canadian hip hop group. But yeah, so I have an album that I never released that I recorded with him. Yeah, for a few years. But I guess ideally, like my roadmap, my goal would be to put an album out with the Forest Orchestra.
Yep.
Um, but there's no solid plan. But I mean, yeah, like life is just so busy right now. But my youngest daughter will be going to school in September, so maybe I'll have a little more free time when she's in school.
And tell us about the Forest Orchestra. What is this project about?
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's a piece of my identity. Yeah, like there's me singing, but we play a lot of live shows, and there's not too many recordings of it. But man, like it was, I think we put on a pretty good show, and the people I played with, I've been playing with for some years, some not so long, but we pulled the crowd in, and it was just a real lot of fun. And I feel like I share a piece of my life with our members, and I would really love to capture that in something that will last forever, such as an album, and other than just my memories.
Is it a very different experience from hearing you play by yourself? I mean, it looks like it. Like you've got a cello there. It looks like, or a stand-up bass.
Yeah, actually. So I think actually that's what people would say. It's like an experience. seeing us, or yeah. For me, like I don't even like to play acoustically. I mean, like by myself, the way I hear it is the way the Forest Orchestra makes it. And like, yeah, so I mean, like we got keyboard, clarinet, guitar, bass, flute, cello. We have vibraphone, trumpet. Yeah, like that would be like full setup, and drums too. Yeah, like I think that we all just it, it's so special. Like everybody's just pouring their heart and soul into it, and it makes for, like just like how I feel the band is, like it's in a forest, there's just this group of energy to make this beautiful place, and I feel like that's kind of what the band is for me. Like we're all just like a forest. And yeah, like the name came to be because we were on a hike, and I said to them like, hey, I always hike with my guitar, with like I have this guitar that was painted by an indigenous artist, and I take the guitar with me everywhere I go when I hike. And I told the band like, hey, let's all bring these small instruments. And then when we stopped to play in the forest, then I was like, we're like a forest orchestra. And I was that's the band name. I like that.
Nice. I really want to hear this experience now. So hopefully that something comes of a recording or something in the future. All right. Well, I'm going to hit you with my last two questions. We're going to play this final song. I hit everybody with these last two questions. If you're on a desert island and you didn't have a volleyball named Wilson to talk to, what one album would you like to have with you on that desert island? It's cruel.
Yeah, you know what? Like, there's this guy in the States. His name is Charlie Crockett, and I've been listening to a lot of Charlie Crockett. So he just released a new album called $10 Cowboy. So you know what? Because I haven't gotten sick of that album, I'm gonna say $10 Cowboy.
$10
Charlie
Cowboy. I love it. I love it. Awesome. So go and check out Charlie Crockett, folks. There's your homework to do. And the last question I ask everybody on here, Joshua, if you were giving advice to somebody who was starting out making music, being creative, wanting to follow a passion, when would be the best time for them to start?
5 years ago. Or I mean, I don't mean like 5 years ago before COVID. I mean
Truth.
like don't take time thinking about doing it. Just start doing it, and don't listen to what people say. Like, just do you. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and being so candid about who you are and your life experiences. I always feel very blessed when people trust me enough to say all this stuff in front of an audience, because not everybody can. So thank you so very much for sharing who you are and your music with us. As I said, I'm a fan. You've got me as a fan now. I can't wait to, I grabbed all your music. Please release it on Bandcamp. Do all that stuff so people can buy it. It's awesome. I look forward to future recordings. I want to thank you for coming on so very much, folks. All of Joshua's stuff, links are down in the description if you want to go click on it. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming along and checking out a new artist you may not have heard of instead of somebody that you already know in this community, because we really should support new artists that we haven't heard of before. There's that. We're going to go out and play this song, Dinosaurs. Why are we playing this song last?
Because that's what the industry taught me to do. Usually this is the one they want us to start with and the one they want us to close with. For me, I think this is a pretty important song. It's kind of funny. It's a love song, but my grandpa was a songwriter, and when I was working on the album, I needed a song to finish the album. And then Dinosaurs was just kind of a concept of like, this old man is always, bickering at me about my songs. And then it was just kind of inspired by love.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. Please hang on the line till the show's over so I can say goodbye to you at the end. And anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah. This is my second time being in this community. I was on Brad's show, the After Party, a couple weeks back, and Yeah, it's been pleasant. It's very nice to see so many people supporting each other, and I think that's really important. Like I didn't know a community like this really existed, and I think it. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I look forward to being around more, and yeah, like when I can. And thank you so much for having me. Like you said, the 2 hours goes by fast.
It does, doesn't it? Yes. When you're doing it, it does. All right, let's get out of here. Pete Johns is up next. He's got his amazing wife, Georgie, on. I'll dump you over there. This is Dinosaurs. And check out what we got coming up. We've got shows tomorrow and over the weekend, so all that stuff. Hit like, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff. This is Dinosaurs. Joshua Beebe, thank you so much for being on the show. Do the things that make you happy, folks. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together and stay awake, whatever you do. This is Dinosaurs. Let's ja.
I'm gonna love you till we're dinosaurs, till we're dinosaurs. I'm gonna work for you till my hair is grey. Oh, I just don't have hair anymore. Oh, please just don't quit. Every time you claim you get bored, there's still so much more. Oh, there's so much more. There's so much more. Many a strong man tried to lift your heart and thrown their backside, blistered hands, broken arms, and no crane could lift a love like yours. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. I'm gonna love you till we're dinosaurs, till we're dinosaurs. And all the bodies I've had the pleasure to explore. And I was only looking for what it is you hold in yours. And we got love in your mind as I'm yours. So I guess I'll just love you until we're dinosaurs. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. All the time that it takes to light candles and mistakes, it takes time to you watch them burn it all away. All the time that it takes to light candles and mistakes, it takes time to you watch them burn it all away. And they'll never bring me down, they'll never burn us down. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. I'll be your crane, baby, I'm gonna lift you up. I'll be your fast wheel chauffeur, take you around. And they burnt down the house that you were raised, and not in place you feel safe ever since that day. But in my arms, and you're in my arms. So I guess I just love you until we're dinosaurs. I guess I'll just love you till we're dinosaurs. I'm gonna love you till we're dinosaurs, till we're dinosaurs.